Right, so this is your anterior hip or hip flexor toolbox. Now, I'd imagine hip flexors take a bit of a battering in the sport.
Big time. We kick in, and not much with your Muay Thai, with your strength and conditioning, with your running, so with everything really.
Yeah, so everything we're doing is pretty much going through those hip flexors. Yeah. So this is a couch stretch, and these are done, like a lot of these movements in your toolboxes are best done away from training. So in this position, when Liam's in position, we're going to hold these positions for like upwards of 2 minutes, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to elongate chronically shortened tissues. Now, a 30-second stretch isn't going to do that. You have to hold these things for a long period of time. So you finish your training session, you've gone home, you've showered, you sat down in front of the TV. This is the perfect opportunity to address some of these little niggles and to use some of the stuff in these toolboxes. So either against the side of the settee, which is where the name couch stretch came from, or if you've got a plyo box, we're against the plyo box. Now, the closer the leg is, or the knees to the bench or to the box, the more intense the stretch is through the front of the hip. So if this is too intense, that position that Liam's in now is too intense, if you move your knee further away, you'll find it becomes less of an intense stretch and much more comfortable to hold. It feels, if it's too intense, almost like it's tearing, like you're actually tearing your hip flexors off. Now, things to think about on here. A lot of people, when they do this, to increase the stretch, they tend to hyperextend the back, they tend to overextend. What I want you to think about doing is trying to keep your rib cage down. So imagine bringing your rib cage down towards your pelvis. So we're maintaining good spinal alignment, and then trying to push slowly forwards on that left leg from the hip. So pushing the hip forwards. And then holding that stretch. Now, like I say, the idea of these stretches is that you want to hold them for a long period of time, so they're not to be done pre-training, because that will reduce the power and strength in your hips and can actually increase the risk of injury. This is done away from training. So 30 seconds is a minimum, up to 2 minutes. Couch stretch, swap over onto the right leg. Works perfectly in the advert breaks if you're watching your favourite series. Chicago PD. What are we watching at the moment? Chicago PD, Line of Duty. So these are the perfect opportunity to spend some time in these positions, eking out some of these issues that you've developed through training and making sure you're then addressing those problems so you're going back into training fully functional.